No, it's actually I want to watch this. I kind of want to react. I kind of want to do some React content real quick. Like,
Game, we've been seeing a surge of complaints about triple support team comps and Marvel Rivals. 2 supports are totally fine, but with 3 supports, it feels like this fun back and forth pace shooter instead turns into this waiting game where basically one or both teams are waiting up to 30 seconds out of a time of waiting for the enemy team to stop basically being invulnerable, which gets a bit absurd, especially because it feels like it happens every team fight or at least every other team fight. However, I don't think most triple support team comps are actually that good for most players. They're just really annoying. So I felt like it was a great time to chat about how to deal with it, as well as talk about other meta trends I've been seeing, like the rise of Thor and Moon Knight, as well as what I think will be super strong going into the future.
Oh, he talks about Thor. I feel like Thor's the shit now.
As well. But before we dive into the nitty gritty, I first have to say that there is one triple support comp that I feel is unbeatable. I would in fact go as far to say that it is the pinnacle of Marvel Rival strategy. The idea is simple, but hard to execute. If your team is losing and you check the scoreboard and as usual, somebody's feeding their brains out on your team, if you can convince them to swap to Rocket, you will have a 90% chance of winning the game.
Okay,
Rocket
this is just
the single most brain dead easy.
I mean, this is true, but
Marvel Rivals. Sometimes it's not about playing the
No,
best,
don't he's right this. Don't he's right this. He's wrong. I mean, he's sort of right, but
about not being the worst. And I promise you, if your local feeder swaps to Rocket, they are no longer the worst player in the lobby. I have won way too many games by doing this. Now it's actually...
He's so shit, bro. He's wrong.
Triple support. What's interesting about triple
Rocket's
support
shit,
is that
bro.
from sites that are tracking data such as Rivals Tracker...
Oh, dude, I tell you what, I don't miss this fucking Luna ult shit, right?
What's interesting about triple support...
You guys remember this shit, bro?
Sites that are
the
tracking
fucking
data such as Rivals Tracker...
instant epilepsy one-shot. So, okay, right. Let me
triple support has a lower win rate than 2-2-2 comps in every MMR. So, is it really a problem? Well, first off...
Okay, so I want to talk about this, because this is what we call in the business the perfect example of people who have a massive inability to understand statistics. Looking at win rate like this, and seeing that 2-2-2 has a high win rate. If you look at this, you see 2-2-2 has a higher win rate than 3 supports, instantly shows that you don't understand how to read statistics. Because this doesn't mean that 2-2-2 is better or 1-3-2 is better than 3 supports. It just like there's factors as to why this win rate's low, right? And let me explain why. So if you look at the majority of players in this game, right? Most people in this game main DPS, right? Most people in this game play DPS, right? So in your average lobby, you're going to have 3 or 4 people who prefer to play DPS in your average lobby. Which means that then often what happens is that people then will often flex to playing support when they don't actually play the role. Which means that your average support player in 3 supports is worse than your average support player in double support. Right? That's the thing, right? So because you're forcing one guy onto a role he's not comfortable on, the win rate's always going to be lower than what it is when everyone's playing relatively similar situations. And the other factor is as well, and I think this is this is probably the biggest one, is when you're losing games, how often does someone in your chat, someone in your game write, can we go 3 supports? How often does that happen? Because to me it happens all the fucking time. Like, it's really common that it happens. And what that means is that then you're swapping to a comp which deflates your win rate, right? Because if you're losing, the chances that you're going to lose a game that you're already losing is significantly higher. Yeah, I mean, it literally happened in my last game. The chances that you lose the game when you're swapping, if you're losing a game and your team swaps to triple support to try and win the game, you're probably still going to lose the game because you were already losing in the first place. Therefore, that again, it deflates the win rate. So realistically, triple support, in my opinion, is still by far the best comp in the game. Overall, regardless of what anyone's statistics say, it's still better than 2-2-2. And I think that when you see pro play, there's counters to triple support, but because of the ban system, you can easily ban those counters from the game. You can just ban Moon Knight, and I think the second you ban Moon Knight, I think you can't not play triple support. I mean, maybe pro play is different, I don't know, but I really do think that.
All triple support has a lower win rate than 2-2 comps in every MMR. So is it really a problem? Well, first off, I think that players often get mixed up about if something is really good or if it's just really annoying. A perfect example of this is Hawkeye last season. Was he OP? Doesn't matter. People really hate being one shot across the map by random headshots, so the entire player base came together to ban that fucker every game. But if you check his official win rate that the Zebs posted last season, Hawkeye statistically was under a 50% win rate for
Again, someone who doesn't understand statistics here. Hawkeye was OP, it's just that he was a difficult character to play. And if you sucked at Hawkeye, you were gonna feed. And because he's OP, people play him more because they're like, oh, I'm gonna go Hawkeye. Like, he wasn't as OP as Hela, like, don't get me wrong, but like this character was still OP. It's just, again, there's so many factors as to what goes into win rate that looking at win rate alone is a turbo brain dead statistic that no one takes seriously.
Players, but he got nerfed. Why? Because the goal of balancing a game isn't to make it more perfectly balanced towards this magical 50% win rate, but rather to make the game more fun.
I mean, he's right in this regard. There is like, it's an interesting balance between how powerful something is in a game versus the player perception of power. And often balancing around the player perception of power is actually more important than balancing around the game. So what League of Legends used to do sometimes is they used to say, like, this character's not OP, you guys just suck, and then it just made the fan base unhappy. So you have to balance around. So he's right in this way for sure.
Triple support falls into a similar category. No one wants to play versus a triple support backline who makes their team basically invulnerable for over 30 seconds. It's just exhausting and tedious. The worst part is everybody just sits there running in circles trying to charge their own ults as fast as possible because there's nothing to do but stare at each other. So the moment all the support ults finally come to an end, everyone else in the game just has their ults immediately. So not only does it slow down the game, but it also speeds up ult generation for everybody else, which means this game that we're playing, which is already revolves around trading ultimates with the enemy, becomes even more ult-centric than it should be, which in my mind reduces the fun gameplay a little bit too much down to...
I mean, he is right. What was the initial search result? What do you mean? I don't know, it's like win rates for characters. I mean, he's right here, because like, the problem that this game had, and the problem Overwatch has had in certain metas, is like, so much of the game just comes down to trading ults, and especially when an ult doesn't take any skill to use, it's like, it becomes super unfun. Like, it's literally, like, I say this, I mean, obviously I'm exaggerating a little bit, but for the most part, this meta just comes down to which support presses their buttons correctly, in the correct order. And that's not fun, because if I play Black Panther, I have to go in on the back line, I have to land all of my abilities to try and kill the support and get out, versus all their support needs to do to get more value is press a button.
Almost like this pseudo rock paper scissors style gameplay rather than the core fundamentals. Now thankfully there are counters for the average gamer. The first is Moon Knight.
The average gamer.
Moon Knight has an ult that is apparently bugged and is doing double damage, according to Reddit, which is also combining with another bug where if you have really high FPS, his ult also does more damage.
For the record, how does this ever get in the game? How is this a thing in this video game? It's just insane to me.
Man, last season he was actually really bad. The most Moon Knight used to do was hold left click at the enemy front line.
Yeah, so he wasn't great. I mean, he was okay last season. I don't think he was that bad.
By building their ults faster, and then Moon Knight would build his ult, and then he'd cast it, it would do nothing, and he would die. But now, the reverse is true. If the supports pop ult, it builds the Moon Knight's ult, and then he just one-shots everyone on the server. It does a pretty good job of keeping all these defensive ults in check, especially if you have something like a Groot to have that nice wombo combo every other team fight. However, it's also honestly kind of obnoxious to play against because all it is a point and click. There's not much counterplay. If he looks at you and casts his ult, you're basically a goner, and there's nothing you can do about it. So I'm kind of curious if they intend on nerfing the damage of his ult, or maybe they'll give it like a little wind up, kind of like Storm has, where the circle appears a little bit before it does damage by like half a second. We'll have to see what they do. The real counter I think the triple support as a solo queuer, though, is really Thor. Thor is an incredibly unique tank because he is the only tank in the game that can burst through heals at mid-range without ulting. The only other tank that comes close is probably Strange with a fully powered E, but that's also only at close range.
I don't know. I don't think this character's that good.
He can take space on off angles. He can flank.
I think he's fine. But he's just like
anybody in the game.
I feel like Thor's just like magic, but like worse.
And if he gets to your backline with Awakening up, the DPS is so high that he has real kill pressure, and those supports will probably have to use cooldowns. And the crazy thing is, most of the time,
152, he says a window, so it's a type. Okay, what's he say?
win rate that the Zeb's supposed to like.
Wait, what? There's no specific age of pictures related to Psylocke's feet, bro. Just the... Anyone's... That's actually funny, that.
For every game. But if you check
Psylocke Marvel Rivals
his
feet
official
pictures.
win rate that the Zeb can get almost guaranteed picks, you're looking, which means Thor in the game. And the crazy thing is, most of the time, he can also get out afterwards because he even has vertical mobility, so he can just reset or just go on another flank. And also on top of that, I used to think his ult was kind of a meme, but it's actually no joke. I watched Surefour Q to top 50 as Thor recently, and I picked up some of the basics. And apparently Thor has a combo where if he dashes into you, he drops his bubble. His bubble has a slow, but it's not set in the game. It's set on the website. And so the bubble slows you, and if he hits the ult after he bubbles you, you can't escape unless you have a mobility skill of some kind, which means Thor can force out support ults or get picks if the enemy team doesn't have an escape. And so that means if outside of his ult, he's really, really good, and suddenly in his ult, he can get almost guaranteed picks, you're looking at a character that is essentially one of the hardest carries in the game for most players, and honestly is one of my favorite characters now. If you're looking for a new character to climb ranked with, he's definitely at the top of my list, especially because he's not super hard to learn. All it is really positioning and learning how to bully people via
I actually think,
and the hardest part.
Okay, this is gonna sound like I think that Thor is requires pretty decent aim. I think it requires pretty high aim actually. Like if you hit all your F shots, it's really, really OP.
Is learning how to aim those awakening shots. His only downsides are, one, he's not supposed to be used as a solo tank, but you probably shouldn't be solo tanking with him anyway. And two, he's kind of squishy. But if you mostly like to pick him into triple support comps, it's not like they have a lot of damage, so that problem is solved. Now, we've talked a bit about the counter triple support, and I did want to mention some of the support comps that I think are truly powerful. Rocket can fit into anything as a third support. He's certainly always good, especially if you're under Grandmaster. He's my #1 pick.
Okay, yeah, fair enough. If you're in Pistol MMR, that's fine. I agree with that.
But in my opinion, the truly good triple support comps, especially high MMR, come in two flavors: Loki or Adam. If you're a Loki triple support comp, you're probably built around Loki plus Luna or Cloak in order to get that sweet 20 to 30 seconds straight of defensive ult coverage. Then you toss in like, I don't know, like a Mantis or Rocket, whatever you want, and it's probably fine.
Stop saying Rocket! Stop saying Rocket!
Comp on the ladder. But fortunately, I think it's usually not super strong because I swear half these Cloak and Dagger players are just complete feeders. Like the amount of Cloak and Dagger players I see without a microphone who just ult straight into Magneto's meatball hoping that someone shields them is mind-blowing. The Loki players, for the most part, until super high MMR, are also kind of just ult bots. They're just kind of existing, and then they wait to copy, you know, Luna or Cloaked. And they're also not super great, but man, when everybody is, you know, on their A game, the comp is crazy good. The other triple support comp that I think is crazy good, but you almost will never see on ladder, is Adam Warlock plus Mantis plus Luna or Cloak.
Yep.
Essentially,
that's what I said.
Triple self-res synergy with the team up of Adam, Star-Lord, Mantis, and then you throw in a second strong defensive ult, and now you have a really powerful team. And it's super strong because Star-Lord.
Well, the reason, okay, I think it's better with Cloak. I mean, I don't know, it's better with Cloak or Luna, but the reason why this comp is so good, in my opinion, is because what ends up happening is that your Adam and your Mantis just play basically as a DPS, and you leave most of the healing to your you leave so much of the healing to your Luna that she can farm, or your Cloak, so she farms her all like fucking crazy. Because I think that what this game is going to come down to at the highest level, because the support ults build so fast, your team in neutral is going to take poke, and what I think is going to happen that doesn't happen right now is that only one healer is going to be healing the majority of that damage. Right? So if you have Cloak, instead of all three of your supports trying to heal up your tanks and your team from taking poke, only your Cloak takes the bulk of the healing, and then you farm the first Cloak ult, and then you win the first fight with the Cloak ult and snowball the game off it.
DPS, and you really can't go wrong with 3 players on your team being able to res themselves in case anyone gets picked by an ult or anything. And it's one of my favorite team comps because I think Adam Warlock is actually super underrated as a character. Soulbond's crazy and he has insane burst heals, but he's so weak as, you know, that traditional second support. But a third support with Adam plus Mantis, right? Usually they don't have the heals. If you have 3 of them, the third person brings all the extra healing that you need and you won't run out, and it kind of covers up a lot of the weaknesses of that comp, and it has incredibly high damage output, so I really love that one.
He's right.
I want to get out there. The last trend I've only really seen a high MMR games, and that is an increase of
Don't.
melee characters. Obviously, Wolverine is super popular and everyone knows he's crazy good, but for some reason in the general community, Magic is extremely underrated to the majority of the player base, and I think that will change pretty quick. High MMR Magic players are disgusting creatures because they can brawl with tanks. If she pops ult and does a full charge right click into dash, she can one-shot Luna out of her own ults.
That's the Chipsa combo.
It's kind of nuts. And on top of that, outside of her ult, obviously she has the really nice combo where she hits you with the uppercut and basically 100 to zeros you. She can do everything. But you almost never hear about her because I think she has a bit of a learning curve, and so the general player base doesn't really run into him super often. But the interesting thing is, despite her having that learning curve,
I don't know, chat. What he forgets to mention is that you should watch this Chipsa TV guy. He's the best. He's the best
one of the
Magic
win rates across all ranks.
Okay, right. Look at this shit, right? Look, this is why win rate is such a meme stat. Fucking Black Panther has the 3rd highest win rate in the game. If that tells you everything you need to know about win rates, I don't need to say anything else.
Last season and still does this season, as far as I know. The only thing to worry about with the future of this character is that team ups will eventually.
Oh, is that last season? I mean, he still has it. He's still the 4th highest this season. Mr. Fantastic.
As far as I know. The only thing to worry about with the future of this character is that team-ups will eventually change, and she is a character that relies on breakpoints for her combos, right? Her team-up right now is 15% damage boost, so I don't know if let's say that gets changed at some other season down the line, they redo team-ups. Will that change the nature of the character in some regard, or change some of her breakpoints? Maybe she'll be a lot worse. I don't know. But if you're looking for a really high skill cap character that can really go to the highest ends of the ladder, I would pick Magic. I'm only partially biased here because Magic's one of my favorite characters in the game. If you got this far...
Bro, he said this about every character so far, bro. Moon Knight, Thor, Adam Warlock, Rocket Raccoon, now Magic. Well, how many favorite characters do you have, Seagull? Fucking lying piece of shit.
I wanted to say I made this video because I feel that these live service PvP games evolve so much over time that it can be difficult
last season BP was crazy. Last season BP was still pretty average.
Or even to determine how it evolved in the first place. And I think this meta report format can serve as a useful glimpse to a specific part of a game's lifespan. I don't know how much...
What is this thumbnail, bro? He got so much bonus HP, but like BP was not that good. I mean, BP was like the 6th or 7th best DPS in the game last season. Like, he wasn't as good as... let's have a look. Okay, I want to say this take is just way too hot. Like, I can't say this, so whatever. But like, there's like Hawkeye, Hela were both better. Iron Man, if you had the team up, was way better. Winter Soldier was better. I think Punisher was better. Magic was maybe better. Namor was better. Star-Lord was better. Wolverine was better. Psylocke was better. And then Punisher was better than BP. I mean, maybe not Punisher, but like almost every single character that I listed was. Does Hawkeye suck now? I don't know. Hawkeye's still fine. I think he just... Hawkeye... Okay, look. People are going to complain when I say this, but like, Hawkeye is a high skill cap character. If you're really good at Hawkeye, he's basically unplayable. BP was the 3rd best DPS behind Hela Hawk. That is the perfect example of someone who is a complete fucking moron in my chat, by the way, who says that. There's no way any human being alive thinks that BP was the 3rd best fucking DPS in the game last season. You gotta be delusional, bro. Chipsa, Black Widow. I mean, Black Widow is an A tier character. Just people don't play her. I'm not delusional, bro. I'm not crazy. BP got banned in so many matches. He must be scary to go against. Yeah, for real. Like, look, last season Hawkeye was better. Hela was better. Iron Man with the team up was better. Namor was better. Star-Lord was better. Winter Soldier was better. Psylocke was better. Those were pretty much all undisputable. The only thing keeping BP in check was Namor. No, the only thing keeping BP in check last season was, do you have a brain? Do you understand how Black Panther works? If so, he's pretty easy to deal with. Delusion, you're just coping, bro. Give me the avoid dying to BP tech. Okay, what you need to do is your supports need to heal each other. That's it. It's impossible to track BP, but the thing is, when you play against BP, your goal isn't to kill the BP. Your goal is to not die to him. And that is actually super easy because his DPS isn't very high. What's your take on Storm? I think Storm's a pretty OP. I think she's also really, really badly designed.
Bro, cheating or what?
So much of the game,
my God.
so much of this current meta in these early seasons is based on the fact that the devs are really
This guy's
bad
cheating,
at
bro.
balancing support ults. Hell is a hard counter for Magic. Hell is a hard counter to any melee character and any ranged character in the game. And Hela's just OP, bro. Like, she just, if the Hela's good, she just destroys, she just lobby admins. She'll still have like 100% pick rate in pro play, bro. Rocket is good. Rocket is fucking dog shit. Unless your name's Seagull. If he's third support, he's playable, but people underrate his armor pack, bro. His armor pack's useless, bro. Bro, his armor pack's 25 HP. Like, if you main Rocket, you are literally just a coin flip player.
My team is AFK. My team is so scared. My team is AFK. My team is so scared. My team is AFK. My team is so scared. My team is AFK. It's just bullshit. Hey, friends. We're both friends here. Hey, friends.